What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles
That was
in the building. Welcome to tonight's show. Y'all want to say what up?
what up? That was super dope. I like that. That was
You
kind of
like
sexy.
that?
Kind of got me all hot and bothered.
I saw your face in the thing. So, welcome to tonight's show. Anybody that's on right now, or if you're watching the replay, that was our brand new intro. We also have a brand new outro. And we got some new digs. We got some new digs. Got all our people in there. Well, they're at least in all the intro. We got everybody else in the outro, and so hopefully you guys like that. And I'll definitely post a copy on YouTube. So in the meantime, you know what it is. It is the GFT Radio Show. Tonight is June 27th, 2022. End of June. Like that just went by really fast. It started off slow, but it went by really fast.
Facts.
So
Facts.
tonight we got a good show for y'all tonight. A very important show, a very important conversation we're gonna have tonight. And it's gonna be all about some changes to basically how this country is going to view certain topics such as abortion, gun control, and I guess insurance. I don't know. I don't know what the insurance thing was about, but I just heard about that yesterday. But we're going to be talking about, has the Supreme Court changed life as we know it? So we're going to be discussing that. We're gonna figure out, what it's all about and how it's going to really, change things or not. So that's the plan. Um, in the meantime, make sure you guys go check out our website over at gftradioshow.com. All of our social links are there. Make sure you join the conversation group. The link to that is over there. And you know how you know what to do, as well as get over to our merchandise shop. As you can see, I got the content shirt on because we got plenty of content over here. So make sure y'all get us at gftradio.creator-spring.com. It is Monday night. We're about to do this, and man,
All the S's are in the building.
for sure. So the Supreme Court. Smooth, you are a political correspondent. Let's start off with the abortion, this not decision but opinion that was recently released by the Supreme Court with, I believe, a vote of, was it 5-8, and
6-3.
oh, 6-3. I'm sorry, yeah, I said 5-8. I meant to say 5-3, but 6-3. Sorry, 6-3. And
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong on that too. It was a 5-4 ruling struck down the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the High Court has decided that Roe versus Wade is no longer valid, and what this really means for uh, the United States as a whole is just basically that from a federal, or from I guess a federal standpoint, abortion is no longer protected. So this leaves it up to the individual states. This allows them to make this decision on their own, and if definitely going to feel like kind of a different climate when it comes to that, because there's always been Roe v. Wade available for lawmakers to kind of, or at least for liberal lawmakers to kind of quell and stop the you know abolishment of abortion in their states, as well as individual counties that have certain laws keeping them from getting rid of that right to choose. Definitely a big win for the pro-lifers. Definitely a big win for conservatives. But it's brings along some issues that a lot of people are definitely not comfortable with. What's your thoughts, Sonny? Being the woman in the room.
I feel the way because I feel like we as women should have the right to choose what happens with our body and what we decide. And it's more of a patriarchal thing, a patriarch thing, and it's even though it's a lot of women behind it, it's probably more women behind it than it is men, right? And that's the odd thing because it's a lot of women that agree that saying that we don't have a right to say about what happens with our body. The government should now dictate what happens with our body in each individual state, depending on how strict they are, can and do all these penalties and just have people doing things that are actually going to harm their body. So while this is happening, now you're abolishing abortion. So either people are going to have to travel across state lines to go get abortions, or they're going to find these random rinky-dink hospitals to get them done the same way people were getting butt injections. And then it's going to be the death toll is going to be more high because now you're just finding unsafe ways to get rid of a child via. And then it's not considering that life happens, things happen. So if you have a kid, if you have a medical issue or a child that you find out is going to be born with a birth defect, you're like forced into having this child, and this child may have a hard life, and rather than go through all that, you choose to abort, but now you're not giving that right, and you're going to be basically told that you have to have this child and deal with all the bills and everything else, and this child is going to basically live a life of suffering because you can't do what you chose to do instead of having to live that type of life. On top of that, a big thing for me is rape. A lot of women get raped and then end up having children out of birth. That should be their decision whether or not they decide to have a child. But now you're forcing people to have kids that they might not want and causing a whole bunch of other stuff, foster care systems, more babies being dropped off at police stations or fire stations and safe havens to be given up for adoption and go into these different state-run programs. So the state is spending more money for kids that people might not want, because it's lots to deal with. So with that, I feel like it's going to add more burden to it. Okay, so now the tax is going to go up because we're going to have more kids that a lot of people don't want to take care of, and taxpayers are helping to make sure these kids are taken care of. So it's so many layers to it that it's just to say that now the government has control over what I choose to do with my body. And then on top of that, somebody made a post that I laughed at, but now I'm thinking about it and it makes sense. So now you're forcing these women to have babies, right? Because we have sex, and if we use protection, and then whatever happens, and you have this kid, right? And you're forced to have this kid. Are we forcing these fathers to like step up and be dads? So if mom doesn't want them, are the courts going to force the dads to take care of a kid that they might not have wanted as well? Or like this is so much to it, or pay child support and do all these things, and it can get, it's so many layers to it. It's just ridiculous, and it's like it's a sad situation for a lot of people to have to deal with, and what more are you going to make us do at this point? Because now you got that. What else are you going to have over and choose to do over a woman? Exactly, the killer. Government can want to control our bodies, but can't control gun laws. Like and people having shooting up schools and all this extra stuff. So like you have, the government has more control over us than that.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part is the fact that we had this strong ruling and overturn of Roe v. Wade, allowing these states to make their own decision, no longer providing this constitutional protection. But the gun question came up, and they did a ruling on that. But it was a lot more loose. It expanded gun rights, and it's just a shame that we have the government overseeing, like you said, women's health and choice and that kind of thing, versus them either sustaining or at least giving some guidance, right? And that's the thing, is that there's no guidance provided by the high court in terms of how these states should approach it, and leaving it up to some of these states it's a very alarming situation.
Like Sonny says, many layers to it. First, like she said, I don't think the government should be policing women's bodies, but this is more so to me a political issue instead of like a legal one as well. So you had the representative, what's her name, Mary Miller, because Trump, you know, about these Supreme Court justices, they're appointed. First of all, we got to talk about these lifetime appointments. Why are they getting these lifetime appointments? Like, there's no checks and balances there for them. So that's an issue right there. Right. I also believe, like Sonny said, Sonny hit it right on the nail about the patriarchy. This is not just white male patriarchy. Let's be clear on that. I had put a link in the private chat to break down the demographics of the races that have the most abortions. Now, the Hispanics and Black women have the most abortions, but it was what's the lady, Jane Elliott? Mm-hmm. She had pointed out because this was down this was years in the making. This ruling isn't something that came by surprise.
It's been a fight.
Yeah, it's been a fight. So it was coming eventually once they got control in the Supreme Court. So I remember Jane Elliott mentioning, white families they're having less kids than normal than before. So one of the reasons, and I forget the book she mentioned, but one of the reasons why they wanted to stop abortion is for them to have more babies. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So they can maintain the majority in America.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
And so, like, that's where they say the fight stems from, and that's where you get the representative. Now, they trying to say she misspoke. I don't think she misspoke, but she was just, it was at a Trump rally, and she was crediting him for the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, calling it a victory for white life. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So her PR people are trying to clean it up, but she already had ties to white supremacist groups before and all that. So, this par for the course for her. Her name is Representative Mary Miller. So if nobody's seen that, y'all can go look that up.
I just saw that video, and yeah, she definitely said that it was a victory for white life. She definitely, was praising the overturn for what it meant to like you said, white populationists, and it's sad because there's this idea that that the white majority is threatened because of increased births in Hispanics, increase in wealth by blacks.
It's even a step further. Of a lot of white women are having babies by black men and other races. So it's not the pure white. It's you get a lot of multiracial and biracial kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and my thing is just to tackle the abortion topic. Me and a friend of mine, me and her was having a discussion, and like Sonny mentioned earlier, it's a lot of women, believe it or not, who are against abortion as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're not against they're against the government policing women's bodies. It's like, that's why I said, like, this is a nuanced conversation. They don't want the government policing women's bodies,
but they don't like abortion.
Yeah, but they still don't, unless because I grew up, my mom and all that, and a lot of women in my family were yay and nay, but most of them was like, if it isn't rape or if your health isn't on the line or like that, they really was against abortion. It was more so like them taking accountability, and it's different. Yeah, it's different arguments for it. and I kind of was in that line. I mean, one time, me and my sister, one of my youngest sisters, we was on Facebook. This was years ago, and she younger than me, much younger than me, and we was having a debate online about it. And I was like, you know, because I know some women who've had like multiple abortions. Like,
yeah, and it's like how many times like at some point you gotta either get your tubes tied or do something, because that's not the quick all fix of you getting pregnant. You need to be smart.
Yes.
I totally as a female, I totally get that, because it's like I'm like, and here's where I stand. You choose what you want to choose with your life. It becomes, to me, 3 times is too much for me. Like, too much for you to be like, because at some point you have to take accountability. Slip ups, not realizing until too late and having to go that route because you can't do the morning after or the pill later. That's understandable, but like, that's not birth control.
Right. Yeah, and as you can see here
that's
from the
where
stats,
I have the issue at. Like, I'm not against it, but at the same time, that's not a form of birth control. Get your life together and fix it and do whatever you need to do, because that's not a solution. That messes up your body.
Yeah, and here the stats even show that 23.8% had previously had one abortion, 10.5% had previously had 2 abortions, and 7.5% had previously had 3 or more abortions. This is as of 2019, and they say altogether 41.8% of women who had abortion in 2019 had previously had at least one abortion. And so, like you said, having abortions multiple times as basically a form of birth control is definitely not ideal, not the best thing to do. But you still have that 58% that only had one, only had their first abortion. And are there reasons other than
you never know the
as a
reason.
birth control method? Of course, we've seen it, between rape and incest and health reasons, because the life of the mother is threatened, that kind of thing. There's so many different reasons for it that you can't just put a blanket over the whole thing and say it's all bad, because it's I mean, it's still taking a life. We get that, and from what I've read and what I've experienced talking to people about it, is that it has the ramifications of a person taking a life when it is a concern to them. But putting a blanket over as if women that are making that choice are doing it out of malice or out of the greed of not having to be responsible is asinine, pretty much.
And I want to bring in the
day, I feel like it's their choice, but understanding as many as you get, it messes up your body. So if you at some point wanted to be a mom, it may be more difficult for you to be a mom. So at the end of the day, whether I agree with it, whether Joe Schmo agree with it, or any of you don't agree with it or not agree with it, does not matter. It's up to that person to take that accountability and be whatever their thought process is for whatever reason they chose to do it. But like the government taking it into their own hands and saying this is what we're going to do as a blanketed thing, and your state can choose how severe or what that looks like for you is like I said, and so what Miss Page just said, what's next? And I said it earlier. What happens next? You're already telling us what we could do with our bodies, and what is next?
They already mentioned it.
You have power over that.
They already mentioned it. Contraceptives. Please, ladies. I'm ignorant. So if I say this wrong, Sonny, is it IUD?
Yeah, IUD.
Okay. IUDs.
Is it IUD? Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, IUD. Yeah.
It is IUDs. Okay.
My brain. I'm not here today. Sorry. Go ahead.
I want to make sure I said it right. So they talk about taking them away, and different other contraceptives for women. But I wanted to make a point about men. I want to get on men real quick. Me and my boy, I was giving him a ride the other day, and I have one child. He's a couple years older than me. His son just turned 18, and that's his only one. and we were saying too many men out here, and women too. We said, but I want to focus on the men real quick. Too many men are having these babies, and they can't take care of them. You feel me? So at some point, or putting too much pressure on themselves, spreading themselves too thin, and it's hurting the quality of life of the child, of your children when you're doing that. So at some point, we all are in this together at the end of the day, men and women. You feel me? So we all have to take accountability for our own actions. So I definitely don't believe in policing women's bodies. Like I still have my stance on abortion. At some point, some accountability. But I remember my friend had also a young lady I was talking to. She had mentioned there's like Sonny, it's different reasons, and one of hers was like, and this is one people don't talk about. Like some people be on drugs and stuff and have babies, and the babies come out stillborn or something like that.
Yeah,
and get charged for that in certain states, and you know what I mean. They can get charged criminally for that. So it's many reasons why. Somebody else mentioned when a person, some women, when they go get their ultrasound, they found out they babies have organ failure or heart defects. So their quality of life is going to be horrible when they're born.
And they know they can't prepare for that.
Yeah, they can't prepare for that. So it's like, should they have the opportunity to terminate their birth before it get further along? So it's many different reasons why women have abortions. But like Sonny mentioned earlier, it shouldn't be a form of birth control. I think that's where the things get murky.
Right.
But other than that, like it's really none of our business. What.
Yeah, like Tanisha just said, so they don't want you to get an abortion, but they don't want you to prevent getting pregnant either. So it's a no-win situation. Exactly, which is crazy to me because this is once again it goes to show the agenda is to increase birth rates.
Mass population.
I'm sorry, what?
I said have a mass population and be able to try to feed all these kids that we having because we can't.
Exactly.
We can't do it.
And this is what's problematic to me is the fact that most women who abort are low income. 49% reported having family incomes of less than 100% of the federal poverty level, which is around $21,000 for a family of three. And it's like Smooth was just saying, it speaks to not being able to afford having children, not being able to be prepared or sustain a family when that was kind of an unintended issue. There's this other issue of they're forcing people to have births when they know that the alternative is government aid or government assistance for a family that can't afford to have children, and it's once again it's asinine.
And then you go through, and so much is a caveat to so much is dealing with public assistance, right? Who wants now? I know a lot of people that are okay with just being on it as a career, right? But like, who wants to sit there and go through the stuff you go through for public assistance when it's realistically breadcrumbs? So it's basically you can't really take care of yourself. You got to figure out how to maintain whatever they give you for your household. And the most thing they give you is food stamps, right? That's the most that they give you as far as financially, right? Other than helping you get assistance for housing and stuff like that. But it's what you got to deal with to even be to maintain it. So what if you don't have, like, what if you can't follow the guidelines? You're just out here homeless on the street with all your kids. And it's just crazy. Like, you're forcing people to be, and then on top of that, like I said, at the rate, and not to be negative about it, but it's a lot of deadbeat dads. It's some great ones, right? But even great ones, if you end up having 5 kids that you didn't want, like you got one, right? Okay, y'all had that one for years. Like Smooth said, he got a friend that has an 18-year-old. My daughter's about to be 20 something. So you mean to tell me if something happens and I end up having sex with somebody and I end up getting pregnant, in Jersey is like, no, you can't get an abortion. I got a 9-year-old, so I got an 9-year-old, and I'm pregnant now. Like, do you? And on top of that, as we get older as women, it's high risk pregnancies.
Yeah, I say the higher the risk. Yeah,
The higher the risk of birth defects and everything else. So you're telling me I can't prevent myself from getting pregnant, and if I do get pregnant, y'all gonna force me to have it. Like, you're gonna have a lot of people falling down a flight of stairs and miscellaneous things, or going to these crazy places to get abortions that's sanitary, and end up dying.
Yeah.
So can I play the devil's advocate?
Yes.
Now, this is not my opinions. I'm just, so don't nobody get mad at
disclaimer out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't nobody jump down my throat. Okay. So we gotta talk about accountability, right? So there's gonna be a lot of people, men and women, that's gonna say, especially to adults, to other adults, like, you know, you don't want to have a baby. You know, you're not ready to have a baby. So why are you putting yourself in position to have a baby? You feel me?
So don't, abstinence is the key.
Not even abstinence. Well, abstinence is the key. Sometimes, and hold on, you know, and then people be like, things happen. You know, condoms bust, this, that, and the third. Contraceptives don't work. I think even Lakeela said she never missed a pill.
Yeah, Keela said I got pregnant on birth control, never missed a pill, but she had to end up terminating the pregnancy due to a medical emergency.
Now, I have a question to that.
I understand those situations.
If it's no contraceptions, what about no condoms?
That's part of contraceptives.
That's fine. But that's what I'm saying. If they're saying we can't use birth control, right, because that's a contraceptive, what if they say we can't use condoms?
Then that's what we gotta talk about self-discipline.
We're gonna have a whole bunch of STDs.
That's the point I was getting to. Sexual discipline. A lot of us out here, let's be honest, we're not disciplined sexually.
No,
you feel me? We're not disciplined sexually, especially you know, men. Like, I mean, I always come at the men first. I'm a man, so I'm gonna speak on that. We're not really, even though we know a lot of women aren't disciplined sexually neither. You feel me? But so men aren't. So we got to start taking some responsibility for our actions at some point. And then I remember you earlier you said, because people gonna hit you with this rebuttal. You was like, well, what about the man or forcing the man? This, that, and the third.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, but even before we get there, there's some men now that feel like they should have a say so. Like, even though that's your body, like you already know where I stand. So yeah. But they like, damn, that's my seed. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So marriage is broke. I just had a conversation with another friend. Her and her husband at the time, you feel me? Even though they end up eventually miscarriage, they was about to, because she was gonna go get an abortion. He was like, nah, you better not abort my baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you feel me?
I think it's that part. I feel like it should be agreed. If that's the case, it should be agreed upon. And if it's not, then y'all got to figure it out, because that's a whole.
And some men be like, "How can you? If you're gonna go have the abortion without my say so, then how can you force me to be a father?
Right.
Without my say so, like it go both ways. So you know,
it's a catch-22. What up, though, Hank? What's your
up,
take
y'all?
on
My bad.
I did that one time, Clint. Now I'm smooth. Now I feel messed up, but he set me up, so that's why he was trying to ruin my he definitely lined me up, and then when he got caught out there,
do that. Niggas
he
do
was upset, and then he was upset and was like, "I'm not going with you."
That's not just a female
thing. I don't care if you're not going with me. I'm going with me.
Hi, how you feel? Chime in,
It get crazy over here in the summer, y'all. My bad. I'm gonna probably be late every Monday.
Don't worry.
Prayer time comes in a little later. Just my bad.
No apologies.
No, there's no apologies needed. We here.
I was like trying to listen, but all right. So start this whole situation off. This shit is really stupid, because you gonna tell the little girl who got touched by her dad that y'all should have this baby? Why should we even bring that problem into the world? Like, I know y'all know Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake was born because his dad was on a date with his grandma. His dad go upstairs, go to the bathroom, go in a room, and rapes the little girl. That's how Jake the Snake was born.
Mm.
How do we want to have these kids in those situations? Forget like all of the stories that's always like from back in the day is like mom had 12 kids and no husband, you know, like, and if y'all don't have nowhere to stay and you living with this one and that one, you don't need to keep having babies. Like you saying that most of the people that be in these situations be coming from impoverished situations because you having babies you can't afford. Babies are expensive as hell. Coming from somebody who just had a baby in the middle of the pandemic, we couldn't have no baby shower. Do you know how much money we had to spend on like everything? Because it was just like my mom bought a bag of clothes, her mom bought a bag of stuff, and it was like, you know, those miscellaneous things that you get from a baby shower add up to a lot of different shit. But if you ain't financially built for it, like Smooth was just saying, people always say, well, you know, shit happens. Yeah, shit do happen. Condoms do bust. Like
Indeed.
my wife was on birth control. My daughter will be 10 in July. I mean, in January. Like birth control don't always work. Condoms don't always work. Shit don't always work out. And you shouldn't force people to have kids. You shouldn't have to explain anything about the way you run in your household or your life to anybody else who's not affected by that. Like I shouldn't have to go to City Hall and tell whoever the hell in this office that I'm cleaning the basement floor this weekend. Ain't got shit to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't ask me did I season the chicken before I left? It ain't got nothing to do with you. Whatever we doing over here is not affecting you. So why the fuck are you worrying about it? Because I'm not worrying about what y'all doing at your crib. So I mean,
Indeed.
I don't know, and I don't know nobody who's like, yeah, that's the way to go. Like, huh? What? Now to what Smooth is saying,
Pan says
this one
she agrees with all of that.
copy that. To what Smooth was saying though, now if there's a touchy situation when this is why you can't just be having sex with everybody, is because now, yeah, it's always everything's 50-50 until you decide to have this baby and I didn't want to have it. Or like you said, he wanted the baby and she didn't want the baby. So now what do we do? Because now you put me in a situation that I didn't want to be in. So I mean, yeah, you kind of got to own up to it. And that's why I always say I will never complain about having to do anything with my kids because they didn't ask to be here. Like that was a decision that I made, and that's something that you got to sit up to if if you're able to do that. But if you're not able to do that, if you know that that's not something that you're ready for, I would never tell anybody put yourself in that situation just to say that you did, because babies is grenades, and they gonna come blow up everything that you knew and thought. My
Yeah, I
bad, y'all,
mean,
for the long ass,
oh no, you
intro.
good, you
Nah,
good. No, my thing is this: is that I think the one problematic thing is kind of back to what Sonny was saying earlier about this difference between how each state is going to handle it. I mean, I was just looking at one of the articles and it was saying how 26 states are going to be likely to ban abortions. 13 have trigger laws in place where once Roe v. Wade is overturned, their trigger laws go into effect and they automatically ban abortion.
Wasn't
And
y'all one of them? Wasn't Michigan one of them?
Michigan, no, Missouri and Mississippi, um, Kentucky, Louisiana, Arkansas, Idaho, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming are the trigger
Copy
states.
that.
And but the thing is is that not only you have that problem of banning the abortions, but then each other of the other states of the other 24 states now have a decision to make on how they're going to handle abortions and when they're going to allow it or not allow it, and it's going to be up to these states to have their own uh, provisions or reasons that they're going to allow. And being in one particular state where you may have a little bit more freedom than another, you have people now going to be trying to travel to these states. You're going to have people trying to have illegal abortions and things like that. And it
That's
creates
gonna be the bad joint that Sonny was talking about. Cause
problematic
Yes, because it's gonna be
situations.
people traveling across state lines or getting illegal abortions
not even
in
that, it's gonna
rinky-dink
be people
places.
using, like you said, it's the unsanitary equipment. People gonna start trying shit. People gonna just start saying, I got the new pill, I got the new ointments. You just do this and do that, and now you gonna end up probably having that baby and fucking that baby up because you was on some experimental shit because they on some stupid shit in your state.
Right.
And so this goes back to my point, to the devil's advocate point. You know, now you have to practice some sexual discipline now. I mean, it is what it is. You just can't be out here humping away. And I'm not just talking to the women.
Yeah, this definitely goes to the guys for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, they got vasectomies
like
and getting the tube. Yeah, they have vasectomies and tube locations for those. Yeah,
that's they saying they're going to not only abolish abortion, they're going to abolish contraceptives. So that's basically saying I can't save myself from getting pregnant, and if I get pregnant, you're going to make me have it, which is crazy.
Right. Tan said that sounds good, but exactly because that's the problematic thing. A lot of people don't even take that into accountability or have that or think of that as an option either when they're just having sex, casual sex or whatever, and decide that they're going to do it either without protection or with limited protection, and then have a oops pregnancy. And it just, they just continue on with it. I mean, we're just looking at that video with the guy with 30 kids, you have people like Smooth was saying that are totally against having abortions and want to have kids regardless of the ramifications of it. Tan said the children will suffer most. Think of the Ray Caruth situation. Exactly. There's too many situations that are not going to end well between further pushing people into poverty, further pushing people to doing things that are detrimental to the woman's health, or like in that situation, people resorting to drastic measures such as murder and abuse in order to terminate a pregnancy.
Yeah.
And what about the people who going just flat kill themselves? Because I know I got 3 kids already. I can't keep doing this shit.
Yeah.
Or the dad who now this nigga ends up in jail because now I got 4 kids on the way. My cousin was in jail. Shit. My cousin came home after doing a dime, was home for 1 year. He had 4 kids in 1 year. And then got locked up and did another dime. So what do you do to that person who now you put them in a situation where they feel like I ain't got no choice but to do some dumb shit?
Exactly. She said said he wanted to unalive that girl and her baby. Exactly.
Facts. So reason why I had hit the group chat with this topic because the Supreme Court was working, y'all. You understand? Like everybody, it wasn't just about abortion. They did a couple other things in there. They threw a couple Miranda rights. So now you remember.
Put him in a freezer. Wait, what's that?
Put him in a freezer like he was frozen.
Yeah. A woman here put her child in a freezer, 3-year-old in a freezer and killed him.
Okay, copy.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Supreme Court, they passed a joint about the Miranda laws to where now a cop don't have to read you your rights. Now before, if a cop didn't read you your rights and stuff, you had to
legal arrest, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's they done away with that.
Is that for all states, or did they pick and choose what states that apply to?
That's across the board, I think, as of right now. You feel me?
Wow.
That's across the board. Hold on.
I'm glad that stuff happened when I was younger because they ain't been my rights and I got off.
Yeah. It means the failure to administer the warning will not expose a law enforcement officer to potential damages in a civil suit. It will not affect how
they shooting first, ask questions later, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
They not Mirandaizing people, they just shooting them.
They still have to Mirandaize them too.
Yeah, but if you tell somebody stop, come here before you can Mirandaize them, and they run away and you shoot them in the back, you didn't get to do it.
Right.
Yeah,
because they definitely ask you.
But that's why they always was subject to civil suits. So what this law did was now protect them from civil lawsuits. Because we always hear about they got off, but a lot of times the city or the they'll settle out with the family in a civil suit. So now the family can't even
collect with that.
Do that. Yeah. So the second amendment thing that we talked about earlier, that Sonny broached the conversation earlier. So the Supreme Court struck down a New York gun law enacted more than a century ago that placed restrictions on carrying a concealed handgun outside the home. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in his 6th majority opinion that the Constitution protects rights to carry a gun outside the home. The opinion changes the framework that lower courts will use going forward as they analyze other gun restrictions, such as weapon bans in California or the gun safety bill President Joe Biden signed into law just this Saturday. So, like, that's a big thing right there. Like that, so New York is wild right now. Like, if nobody know, like, New York is like the wild, wild west. So now they're allowing people, they was one of the, Jersey, it's damn near impossible to get a concealed carry in Jersey. And they damn sure ain't doing no open carry. But it was like that in New York City too. But now them laws lax. We just heard in I forget which state it was. You feel me? You don't even need a permit to carry your gun. I think that was in Texas.
Right. Yeah, I think it's Texas. You don't need a permit.
You don't even need a permit.
Ain't nobody shocked by that one. You knew that was gonna be Texas.
Texas, yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing with all these mass shootings? All these gun violence. It's like, now we just about to let y'all have at it.
We cool with it.
That's what it feels like.
As long as you pay attention to this shiny object over here, you don't pay attention to the shit that we're really doing over here. That's what that's always about.
It's like pay attention to abortion.
So yes, actually, there's quite a few states that have a permitless carry law. Ohio just recently passed one. This year. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming.
What do a lot of these places have?
Northwestern states, but there's quite a few eastern.
What do a lot of those places have in common? Like
wildlife.
Do we?
Because that's what they're gonna say. That's what they're gonna say for real.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's a lot of northwestern states, but there's a lot of East Coast states on this list, so and quite a few southern states. So it's definitely not an isolated thing. And now there's more states, pushing forward, like Indiana, they're pushing forward, and they're just south of us, right in between Ohio and Illinois. So
it's gonna get crazy and crazy.
Man. So my question is this, and I guess we mentioned it earlier. Does the Supreme Court have too much power? And if so, like, what can we the people do to challenge that, to try to, because to me, like I said earlier, that lifetime appointment nonsense is crazy.
Yeah, I was just telling somebody about that. That's crazy.
This is my problem with these things. Every time something happens, everybody wants to jump up and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! How they do this, then whatever." And you have the right to vote on all these different things. It's up to you to educate yourself as to what's going on in your county and your state and your zip code and your area of the country and handle things accordingly. I'm perfectly fine with you not wanting to vote, but you have to remember to shut the fuck up when things go wrong. You remember that you didn't have anything to say, that you said my vote don't matter and I don't want to do this and all of that. Copy. That's cool. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. Same thing like I said earlier. You don't have to justify your decisions to me. But you can't be the first one up complaining about shit when it happens. You can't be complaining about gas when it go up or taxes when they go up or when everything goes awry. You got to shut the fuck up because our ability to change all of these things happen at the fucking polls every year. When they have all of these different elections, you need to get your ass up, vote, and try to figure that out.
And I always go back to my my George Carlin routine. His point that he made. He was like, part of the problem is the people who vote. You don't know who the fuck you for. You feel me?
Notice I said educate yourself.
Our our elected officials represents us. So if our elected officials are shitty, then that means the people that voted them in probably was shitty. You feel me? That's why, and Willie and Sonny, they know I always said, I'm from the school of everybody shouldn't have the right to vote. You have to. It has to be some
I
checks
ain't
and
really
balances.
mad at
I don't
that.
agree with. I ain't really, because like you said with the education, like I ain't really cool with the, oh, I want to get everybody registered to vote, and then you go tell them who to vote for, and they not educated. Because I was that fool. You feel me? I was that 18-year-old fool going into that voting booth. My grandma did this. I'm doing this for my ancestors. Blah, blah, blah. Democrat all the way down.
Right.
I feel all types of pride. I did something. Then when I get out the center, I'm like, man, who the fuck I just vote for?
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like what is this position? I don't even know what the fuck a freeholder do. You feel me? Like
Exactly.
so I had to
That's why I
educate
said educate yourself is number one on that list.
But you know, I'm gonna defer to the comments real quick. I'm gonna just run through them real quick. Kilo was saying earlier they run in this country backwards, repeating history. Tan agreed. She also said they do what they want. Tan said that the whole structure needs to be restructured, but how? I don't have the answers, but I agree that the Supreme Court has too much power. And Keela said that it's discouraging when you do vote and they still do what they want. She also agreed with Tan about the restructuring. Now, that's
Now,
my thing is that I feel like, you know, even
yeah,
though,
I ain't got no
you know,
problem
we
with that.
say, yeah, even though we say educate yourself, vote, you know, according to your views, your morals, your standards, you know, this kind of thing. There's so many people voting. You know, and electoral college is an example of why you can't have everybody voting for certain positions. The problem though is that even when a group of people decide, you know what, we want this candidate says that he's going to stand on these issues and he's going to do these things once he gets into office. They get into office and it's a whole different story. Oh, well, I need more time, or I need to confer with these other people, or you know, whatever. And then you have lobbyists that are in there greasing everybody's palms, paying everybody off in order to get, you know, corporate or special interests issues and agendas taken care of before any of the things that these people have claimed that they were going to do. And I think that's the problem. This whole system, this political system in this country needs a complete overhaul. There's too much buddy bribing, coercion. The lobbying thing is so problematic. The lobbying situation is the most problematic thing that we have with this country. And it's allowing big business, rich people, special interests, and larger groups to control the way laws or the law of the land to be laid out.
So I feel like this because I had heard this. I don't know how true. Well, I guess it is. It will be true about the presidential election, right? Back in the day when it first started, not current years, but when it first started, you had two people running or people running against each other, right? And it got down to the two people. And see how now we're able, the president is able to pick a running mate. Back then it wasn't that. It was I'm running for president, you lost. So since you second, now you're the VP. So it kind of balances it out, if it makes sense. It was like, so yeah, I may not agree with Lincoln, but Lincoln won, and his whatever he's trying to get across is going to work, or however he's going to work it to get whatever laws and things he wants to get in play. But he also had to deal with his vice president, who was against him in certain aspects, but they had to kind of figure out how to work together, coexist to make laws and pass laws like that. So I think that if we're going to start from, if we're going to restructure, I think we should go back to that way, if that makes sense. We might not agree with everyone, but at least it's like a even playing field, if you will, I guess. and kind of bounce each other ideas off each other, and then do the majority or vote on things from that point, because it's both sides being heard and then figuring out how to make certain laws pass, because it was a lot of stuff that came out of those administrations, even though they weren't 100% great for Black folks back then. It was progress. It probably was more progress then than it is now, if it makes sense to me. That's how I feel somewhat.
But this is the thing. I think that the reason our checks and balances were put in place was to keep things on an even playing field, and it made sense when they set it up. But to Smooth's point, one of the missing checks and balances is this lifetime term as a Supreme Court justice, a high court that has supreme power over everything. No matter, you have the president with his ability to do what are they called, the presidential
executive.
What are they called when they can write any law they want and then sign it and it's done?
Yeah, I can't think of the
decision,
name.
Executive decisions. You got the president with executive decisions. That's fairly limited, though. It's well, I won't say fairly. It's partially limited, though, right? There's laws that prevent him from making a asinine or crazy or out of this world executive decision and just sign it into law. It's not allowed. There's the Senate and the House. They have certain things that they can do in each of those chambers, and then they're basically going up against each other. One thing is passed in the House, it's got to go to the Senate. Sometimes it's got to go back to the House. But you have the Supreme Court that just has like all this unlimited power. I won't say it's unlimited. There's its checks, and its check is the Constitution. Only people who can change the Constitution is Congress. But the thing is that the Constitution is so broad, and they're trying to broaden it more, and they're allowed to do that without any recourse. There's no recourse. They sit on that court bench for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years, and the only recourse is either expanding the court to add more seats, or reducing it to remove some of the seats, or waiting for somebody to die. It's crazy. It makes no sense.
So
can I correct something I said?
Go ahead.
I just wanted, because I said Plato earlier. Well, I was actually
y'all
talking.
Hear her in the background.
Yeah.
She loud as shit.
I actually meant I was talking about a point Socrates made. So here's what he said. Socrates' point is no, but this is what all this shit is based off. The Constitution and all this is all built off Plato's and Socrates and all that. That's what people forget. That's why I think the whole Constitution should just be and we start anew. But Socrates' point is that, and this is to your point, Hank, is that voting in an election is a skill, not a random intuition. And like any skill, it needs to be taught systematically to the people. Letting the citizenry vote without an education is as irresponsible as putting them in charge of a it says triumph selling to Samos in the storm. Like, it's basically just saying putting some
they
random
start killing you when you be reading some of that old shit, yo. They throw some words in there, you be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. It's basically like just putting some random person in control of the shit who has no idea what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what letting people voting without no education and no, not even like it should be a skill.
They don't even the average person doesn't even understand. They should be teaching that in school.
Well, no, this is the thing, that the average person doesn't even understand how the government works. I was looking at a comment section about something to do with the, I think it was the the loan forgiveness, and someone mentioned like, okay, problem here is, Biden came in saying, I'm going to get rid of these loans, and then now, it's just like piece by piece. But, somebody else was like, hey, it's time to get Biden out of there. He's not really doing the job. He's afraid to make the big changes. He's afraid to talk about the issues. And then someone else is like, oh, well, I would vote for AOC. Is she 35 yet? And somebody asked, "Are you asking because you want to date her?" Like, dog, like you don't even know you got to be 35 to be president. Like, come on, people. Like, they don't understand that. Nobody seems to understand how Congress works. I've studied Congress in school and still don't understand how that works.
That's why I said it should be something that's like going through. Like we have to have.
It is. It's taught
history.
in school
It should be
for years, for several years, and people
voting registration should be a class and not a birth date.
No. I'm serious.
It's in school, but it's like not in depth.
U.S. history and
that shit in my school.
And some schools also have a third class. Some call it economics or social economics. Some call it a different name, but it still talks about how our system of government works and how each of the different parts of the government function. But these things are one. A lot of it is taught early on, but then two, when it's taught in high school, most people aren't retaining this information.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about government. A lot of the stuff that we're talk about the government, we're actually taught that shit in elementary.
That's what I'm saying. Like it needs to be later.
You feel me?
That's
the problem.
That's why I said once you hit high school,
ready to vote. Like we're
once you hit high school, you're about to be there.
I didn't learn that. We learned other shit. Like we didn't learn that.
Yeah, I ain't
like
know
yes,
that.
we heard about it in elementary, but like if we go out through the years of history. Or history class in our economics.
You didn't have a government or U.S. history class in high school?
We had it in high school.
Every school, that's a requirement.
We had it in high school.
Yeah. Probably ninth grade?
We had huh?
You had U.S. history, you had world history, but they wasn't breaking down the branches of government or like none of that type of shit. No.
Like not
history is like
like that.
Yeah, check your books.
Philadelphia public school. Yeah, Philadelphia public school.
The 3 days I was in school.
They wasn't breaking in the gym on the basketball court saying, "Yo, man, you got to know your electoral college votes."
Exactly.
So I would say, like, I think everybody would agree. Anything that's man-made needs to be upgraded as the times go on. As things change, as the world evolves and the people evolves, then you have to evolve with the system that you are now given. You can't play by the rules that are no longer there for the game. We're not still shooting in a peach basket. Like, they got a net, a whole metal rim and all of that. Like, the game evolves. So absolutely you need to redo the structure, but like that's not something that's realistic. That's not something that they would do. Excuse me. It's those different relationships like anybody has with anything that they've been doing. We've been doing this we've been doing these podcasts and these radio shows for years. We got different relationships and different people that we'll always tap into and say, I'm gonna pull them in if I can get something bigger and better. It's the same way with any job. If Willie becomes the station manager at Power 10 whatever in Detroit, he's gonna say, I got my 6-7 people that I know I'm gonna tap into and try to pull them in. It's the same thing with any job. If you're the president, if you're in anything that you say, I'm going to do all of this once I get that job, same way that you said when you say I'm going to get my new job and I'm going to save this amount of money and do this and do that, and then the hot water heater buses. It's the same shit when you become the mayor. Is I got all of these great ideas and then I get in here and find out these motherfuckers are not even letting me get to none of this shit that I want to get to because I got 57 things that I got to fix from before. The school budget's fucked up. The potholes need to be filled. The police budget, like it's so much different shit that you can't foresee until you get in that position, until you get in that situation. People always tell you what they would do if they was there, but they not there. So all they doing is just, giving their opinion, which everybody has an opinion. My daughter's too. She has an opinion. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So that's the one part.
That's why. Go ahead. What you say, Smooth? You go ahead.
The one part I disagree with. I agree with everything you're saying, but it can change. The reason why it won't change, because people are scared, because you know what it takes. You feel me? It's easy, like you just said it. It's easy for us to talk about it, but for that shit to change, it's gonna take blood, and ain't nobody really willing to shed no blood for it, because that's
what I always tell people.
That's what we were built off of, blood. That's what every government is built off of. You feel me?
So this is the thing I always throw at people. Like my dad and my mom took their shahadas and became Muslim in the 60s on like the ground level of the Nation of Islam and all of that. When back in those days, like you saying, when they said, yo, gas is too high, everybody's walking to work, guess what nobody did? Drive their car. Because they had a united front of we are not doing that. Nowadays, if we say gas is too high and nobody's driving, guess what? The nigga who got to ride 2 hours away is going, I'm driving my car. I don't know what the fuck they talking about. The nigga who got to go 30 minutes, the nigga who got to go 20 minutes, they're not going to inconvenience their own self for the betterment of everybody else. Which is why I said it won't happen now, because we don't have that type of mentality. Back then, they had the mentality of these things aren't working and we as a people are going to change them. We got too many individualized thoughts the way the things go now. We too worried about self thinking we're so important that we're more important than the bigger picture of all of us. So that's why I said that I don't think it can change. Now, like I said, my mom and dad are on the ground floor of change and things happening. Like my dad and them had newspapers, hospitals, banks, like they were doing that shit. And because of the way that was going, they all ended up going to jail because it was like, we can't have you motherfuckers doing this black owned shit like in the 70s and all of that, because this is going to fuck up the dynamic that we have already going. This is going to fuck up the bread that we're trying to get.
It was the same thing with the Black Panthers and Black Wall Street. They were doing it for themselves and their community and not getting, and because they weren't getting support that they needed from outside races. So they're like, we're going to do it for ourselves. And when you start doing that, it becomes, and then some other people that just look just like us that decided that they wanted to do a little things a little different. So it messed up the thing for everybody. So we have to be on the same page to be like you said, if we were more united in our thinking and our selflessness, then we would get a lot further.
The problem is that they find that one or two people who go, I should be getting this, that, or whatever. I should be doing this, that, or whatever better. So like back then, the same way, how the fuck did slavery start? Because we sold us. Nobody likes to own up to the part that none of this shit would have happened if we didn't sell us. We couldn't have sold us, and then none of this shit would have happened. But because they told them, hey man, we got some spears and some gold and shit y'all can have, they went, man, I can have a come up. They wasn't thinking about we need to stick together. They thought, I can do better. The same way, like I said, that this nigga who's got to go 2 hours away is going, I'm not walking. I'm driving my fucking car, and it's gonna be a lot easier for me to get there because ain't gonna be no traffic. You infiltrate and find the couple of weak motherfuckers, and then they tear down the whole structure.
Yeah, it's always gonna
be like that.
Yeah.
Trojan.
I mean, this is the sad part. Going back to what Smooth said earlier. Nobody wants to die for their rights. Nobody wants to fight for their rights. Nobody even wants to argue for their rights most of the time.
That's what I'm saying. Them niggas was willing to die back in those days.
Exactly. And I think that's where the problem is that nobody takes this as serious as it is. You know, I think we would have more I won't say honest, but more accommodating politicians if we held them accountable. We'd have more or less, dissension between the parties if we held those parties accountable. We'd have less issues with, laws like these if we held our government accountable. And we don't hold them accountable. We rely on somebody else to take care accountable. Of it. Say it again.
We don't hold ourselves accountable. Like you said, we could, like even in our local cities, we complain about the schooling and what's wrong with the schools. Nobody votes. In the local that directly affects your community, we don't do it. And then I'm on board of us holding them accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable too.
Copy.
Indeed.
Every time we have a niece, nephew, child, or anybody around us that turns 18, man, you gotta make sure you go vote. But again, you don't equip them with any of the knowledge of why am I voting for Obama versus John McCain? Why am I voting for Obama? I don't know what his policies is. People just went, he's black, I'm black. That's why I'm voting for him. Because guess what? That's why I went in there and voted for him. I didn't know nothing about what his policies is, what he's thinking, what he's doing. He could have been saying, fuck these niggas. Like, I wouldn't have knew. Right. But if you 18 and like my wife was 18 that year. Like, and she went and voted for Obama, not knowing any of the policies or anything that he's doing or what he stands on, or any of that. Not to just keep putting it on him, but it's how many different elections and different things that you vote on all year. And does that 18, that 19, that 45-year-old understand anything about the person that he's pushing his button for?
Exactly.
And most of the time, that answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about most local elections when they do elections for judges. People don't even know who these judges are. They're just names on a ballot. They don't know who half of these
They won't know the judge
state representatives are. They're just names on a ballot. They don't have debates. They don't have advertisements talking about what their policies are. They don't have anything. They just names.
They got this thing called Google, and if you put it in right on this, you know what I'm saying, you can find out who Leroy Anderson, just who the hell he is.
You can try, but not everybody's out there. That's the thing. You know, I did that because I used ballot. What is it called? Ballotpedia or
Ballotpedia.
I think Ballotpedia. It was another website, and I used those to research candidates in my area, and only like I would say maybe 70% of them had information out there available. There was a vast majority had very little information, and if they did have something out there, and then there was just a select few that published their true intentions out there. So it's
strike one. I can't find no information on you.
Holding people accountable. We don't require them to tell us why they want to run. They just allowed to run. You got enough signatures? You good.
If I start looking you up and I can't find nothing, strike one.
Yeah,
that means Councilman Leroy can't get my vote.
No doubt.
I had this whole. I actually had to do a written paper for this class and an actual recording, and it was basically about politics, and I did it about my city, and what Sonny was saying about the apathy in the city, and like what you said earlier, Hank, people always complaining, but don't nobody go out and vote. I remember for our mayoral election, and like 3,000 people voted. You feel me? Damn near 100,000 people in this city. 3,000 people voted for the mayor, and 15, 20,000 you hear always complaining about.
What's going on. Let something happen. How many are going to be down there to rally?
Wrong with the city.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Wait,
that
froze, bro.
Exactly. So, I froze.
You froze for a second.
You keep freezing. It's like a delay.
Oh, no, why is doing that, man?
Now, at least his mouth ain't open this time,
right. But yeah, but no,
people do be ugly as shit when they freeze with their mouth open.
Yeah, voter turnout is a huge problem everywhere. I mean, here in Detroit, we got 600,000-700,000 people in this city, and you got 15,000 people showing up to vote, 10,000 people showing up to vote for certain things. It's problematic everywhere.
Let some bullshit go on, and niggas is out there 400,000 strong.
Right, indeed. Yeah. Any other questions we want to answer before we wrap this thing up, and maybe we can go into a after show?
Nah, I ain't got nothing. I was going to
educate yourself.
I was just going to say a lot of people
just educate yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people got to understand there's more than two parties out there. It ain't just Democrats and Republicans. You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? I asked a motherfucker they asked me who I voted for last election. I said Howie Hawkins. Everybody looked at me blank. Like, who the fuck? I said, all right, you feel me? It's not for me to explain to you who he is. You feel me? Go do your own research. You know what I mean? Go find out who his vice president was. So his vice president candidate was a black woman too. You know what I mean? Like, go do your research. You feel me?
I think a lot of people get caught up in the celebrity of it. Yeah, whether local elections or just presidential elections, you get caught up in the celebrity, and you miss the facts of the information. Like we had that in in Trenton many years. We had a mayor that just should never have been mayor. Even when he first ran and lost, he was doing weird shit, and then he got elected, and then this man is locked up in all this goofiness, and it's like, but y'all, he was showing he was problematic. The 1 year he ran and didn't win, and y'all was like, oh, now he's doing it again. Let's vote for him, and then look what happened.
The one before him was problematic too.
Yeah, no, that's true too. But I'm just saying, like, if you knew the year prior, if you got to know that him prior, you would have knew like type of shade stuff he was doing, and then you still voted him in, which was crazy because it was out there for everybody to see that he was doing shady shit. And then he came up for the next election, and y'all was like, all right, we get him in now. And then it was like, oh my God, this is what's going on. Like, come on.
But the dumb shit people do is if they hear the nigga was doing something negative, oh, I'm voting for him. Like, so this is the nigga that you want making the laws? Like, this is who you want overseeing the situation? Like the one who got caught up in the dumb shit? We know they all doing the dumb shit, but the one that gets caught is not the one that I want to follow.
11-11.
Text me the boy name that you text me the boy name that you said too, Smooth. Let me look him up.
Howie Hawkins. Howie Hawkins. I'll text it to you right now.
After show.
After show. We're about to hit a hard left. So y'all watch the verses. Y'all watch the verses the other night.
Listen.
The verses, bro.
Mario for the win. I was so happy. I'm glad I met him. I'm glad I got to bool up with him at the club at one time. That's one chocolate man. I was so. But see, here's my problem with that. When they said that they was doing the verses, I already knew. Like Mario could really sing. I don't know about Amarian, but I know that Mario could really sing.
But before we even get to him, I already know,
Ray J.
I was at work the other night. I didn't see it, yo.
Man.
Ray J was about to be in tears.
Ray J.
When they were singing his song without him, he was like,
yo, he's like, his heart was broken. His heart was broken.
Yes, and then he tried to be nice about it, like y'all singing it real nice. Like I'm just in awe. No, you was just sad. You was about to cry.
I told y'all my man Ray J can't sing. He just had some songs that was all right, but his singing talents are terrible. Okay.
Well, first things first, the baby. Why is the baby there?
his wife was there with them with their children. Like, listen, we don't got no babysitter. We here with it.
all I know is that it was like almost, I want to say 11 o'clock at night. They're at some concert hall, and this fool got a whole baby in his arms trying to perform songs, and then he blamed the baby.
Their time different than
why he was off key. He blamed it on the baby. He talking about, so I'm holding this baby.
Y'all got to check him out.
Bobby B was struggling. Fucking Bobby B was struggling. Jeremiah, I was like, please. When Mario said, let's take a moment of silence for whatever the fuck just happened, I was in tears. Like, yo, these. They all got to stop singing.
You got to.
I was at work the other night. I kept seeing niggas posting shit about Ray J, but I didn't know what was going on. Like,
when y'all get a chance,
he was
on the Joe Button. He was on the Joe Button podcast. Joe Button called him Saturday, the day after. He posted a clip. Go listen to the clip when he called him. Man, it's the funniest shit you ever. He was apologizing.
I got it.
Yeah, he was apologizing. He knew he messed up. He sounded so hurt. Because he felt like because Brandy was there, so he felt like he let Brandy down. Rodney jerked him.
He let himself down.
You feel me? Because he feel like he really can sing. So his thing was like, I got to do something now. He's like, it don't got to be a verses, but he got to do something live or something to redeem himself, and you know what I mean? Because he felt bad. He felt bad, but it's funny how you break it down. This shit is hilarious.
Lord. What do you think about Jeremiah? That he was in that, it was like, yo.
Yeah, see, Jeremiah, he ain't built for them type of stages like that. You know what I mean? Like his voice, like it's just
like, what's the name of them held it down? Sammy and Pleasure P, and what's his name? They held it down because
Sammy probably the best singer out of all of them.
Yeah, but he was
Oh,
What
yeah.
happened to the
Sammy's highly
BET
underrated
Awards
singer.
while we're on entertainment?
Yes.
Whatever
Hey.
happened to the BET Awards?
They still
I didn't
do
watch
it.
I don't watch award shows, so I have
Me
the slightest
either.
clue. I heard they was
Did
on
they
last
just
night.
have a BET
Yeah.
award or something, or what was that?
Last
It was
night.
on.
Kanye just
BET
showed up
Awards was
too.
on.
So we're gonna
like,
ignore Omarion
it's-
not singing ass. Is that what we're gonna miss? And him and that watermelon and rolling all on the,
I didn't
on the
even watch the
ground.
verses. I just been seeing all the comments behind it.
Him and his brother went to the booth, brought back pre-cut watermelon, and was simulating oral sex, but was chomping down this watermelon and was trying to be sexy about it. It was horrible.
him and his
No,
brother.
Really?
His brother, it was Omarion and Amara, whatever the fuck his name is, something.
Orion.
Or Orion or whatever his name was.
It's just
And
Orion.
them motherfuckers pulled out
O'Reilly's,
pre-cut
huh?
watermelon
No,
and
Orion.
was singing the song
They're-
horribly,
it's like
having
basically
sex
the
with the
same
watermelon,
name
and then
except
him and
for,
Tank was singing "Oh" together, and like it was just a hot
But
ass
the
mess.
BET Awards, bro, I heard about it last night. I heard it was
My daughter came to the top of the steps and told me it was on last night. I had no idea.
trash. I heard Taraji P. Henson. She did a horrible job hosting.
She had her stomach out, no drawers on, didn't
I
look
heard
too.
a lot of the people microphones was
Lil
bad.
Kim definitely missed her cue on the Puff joint.
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
See, I'm hyped. I wanted to see the Puff joint because I know you're gonna have some Biggie in there because you know it's Puff, it's Biggie. They had no Biggie. I was highly upset that there was no Biggie in the Puff tribute.
Wow.
I heard the City Girls was his girlfriend from the City Girls was out there with a sign or something. Hyping him up.
I have no
He was
idea.
thanking Cassie. It was like she had the sign. Meanwhile, he was on the stage thanking Cassie.
Right, exactly. That's a mess.
Yeah.
That's a whole
I don't
mess.
know what the fuck's going on with these people these nowadays.
So wait,
Man,
huh?
definitely player of the year.
Yeah, that's what Omarion was wilding. Omarion was wilding. Him and the boys beefing now. I don't know what that's about.
Oh no, because they basically said that he basically said that they was backgrounds, they was background dancers, and Jay Boog was like, first of all, you really can't sing, and you just proved it the other day on Versus that you can't sing, and then Raz B was like, he not even part of B2K anymore because remember Mario kept telling him to call his group, like get his group to help him because he couldn't sing, and they was like he can't call us because he's not even in the group. He's not even a part of B2K. But then
If y'all don't have Omarion, there is no group.
he
Okay,
was calling them background.
like, nobody's coming to see Fizz do a solo.
No, not at all. Not at all.
If without Omarion, y'all don't have no group. If
But they
Cisco's
was like-
not showing up,
Slow down.
nobody's going to the Drew Hill show.
No, but basically what they're saying was he was just Marcus Houston brother. That's why he was in the group. He couldn't sing,
Dang.
and they actually was
He's the only
singers in
one with the
group.
poppin' solo project too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
If
was
Fizz
like,
didn't
okay.
hit Omarion baby mom, you wouldn't have remembered his name.
If he wasn't on Love and Hip Hop, I wouldn't remember his name. But
That's what I'm saying, okay? I wouldn't either, is what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't know half these niggas' names back in those
But yeah,
days.
Jay Boog was like, he basically sung like the background stuff. A lot of them sung the background. Omarion just barely was in the studio, so he wasn't laying down vocals. I was like, so y'all coming for the juggler. Like, now you proved that you can't sing. Let me tell y'all, he ain't blaming on no vocals. He was out living his best life. And then when it came down to doing dancing, he was there for the dancing. Like, basically, he was the backup dancer that was in the front and lip singing like Milli Vanilli. And they had all the songs.
But that's why I'm saying
That sound like hate. That sound like hate.
I was about to say
Yeah, that sound like
again.
They do sound like
I
hate,
mean-
but then you saw him on the verses and he was out there struggling.
But
Have you ever heard the
why
solo
all his
J
tours-
Boog joint?
Yeah,
though?
why all his tours sell out? Ain't nobody really complain about his tours and singing on
Yeah.
his tours.
No,
You
not
feel
at
me?
all.
My wife went to the what was the Millennium Tour? I think that was the name
Millennium
of the
Tour,
joint. Yeah, she went to the show.
I was like,
Don't
damn,
have
they
a
out
great
there
time.
tearing
Let me
tearing
know how
shit up.
you-
But then he started because he said they were just background dancers. So he
Mario-
took
Well,
the
you know,
locker room and all.
that whole dynamic is thrown off. They all kind of pretty much hate each other, and
Yeah.
it's always
But
going
the
to
only people that get along is Jay Boog and Raz right now.
yeah.
And him and Fizz, J Book and Fizz are okay, but then he don't respect how Fizz move with old girl. Cause he like, then you'll probably do the same to everybody else's. So
See, I ain't gonna
I
hold
want
you.
to say something about
Like
that.
Sonny
era.
just said, if it wasn't for Love and Hip Hop, I promise you, I wouldn't even know what none of these niggas look like except for Marion.
Yeah,
Like,
I still don't know who. I just know Omari. I know J Bug. I don't know the other two niggas. But when you talk about that era of R&B, I feel like that era was trash, man. And
I ain't gonna say that because that was even saying back in my day.
And that proved
that mid 2000s time period, 2004 to.
I think it was more of they was doing more gimmicks.
Bro, Confessions came out then, so we can't say that.
I'm talking about
the young boys.
You talk about the young boys. You know, Usher was around shit when I was in middle school.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Remind me of a girl that I once knew. You know what I'm saying?
But I think it was more gimmicky back then, and for the people that actually. But then you see that with rap, it's a lot of talented rappers that just.
I was about to say, music is time and place.
Yeah, what they deserved, and you know.
If you was in 11th grade when that shit came out, then every time you hear it, you gonna remember being in 11th grade. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same with any of that.
When they first came out,
I wasn't listening to no B2K. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, the girls was, but I was like, I'm not giving these niggas a shot.
And I'm like, yeah, these niggas trash. Like, you feel me? I felt like they was knockoffs then. I felt like
there's not one B2K or Pretty Ricky song in here.
Oh, Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky.
So I was about to say Lil Ricky.
I actually like Pretty
I'm about
Ricky.
to say I got Under in here now.
No, I like Pretty Ricky, but President P.
I don't have any Pretty Ricky.
Going to that group.
Nah, I ain't like. I thought they tried to be too much like a knockoff Jodeci to me. You feel me? Like the new age Jodeci.
I feel like they were like a younger version of Silk, singing all them sex songs. They had some.
Yeah, Jodeci had a lot of sex songs.
Hey yo, all right. See, I didn't catch the Silk thing till you just said that. Now,
but no, because if you look at Silk catalog,
that's why I just said I didn't catch Silk till you just said that.
They were a younger version, not even a Jodeci. They were a younger version of Silk. Like they were just.
I just think like, people say Silk because dude's voice.
To grown men, Silk, little kids.
Nah, they ain't remind me of Silk.
So was they on some polyester? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Silk.
But then, I like that. I like that Blue Star album, and I like Pleasure P. Introduction to Marcus Cooper album. Sorry,
that's what I'm saying. And you talk Under was the shit.
Birthday Suit is my shit. So you know that shit come on. I'm like, I'm in here jamming. Like I'm sorry, that's my shit. So it's on the hotline. I'm sorry, it's Pretty Ricky. I'm in the house like 5 in the morning. I'm serious.
See, that's what I'm saying. You talk about like 2003, 2004. The two albums I'm thinking about is Confessions and Tyrese. I Want to Go There. Them two albums was the shit. Now you talking the young boy band era. Yeah, I was a young boy at the time. I wasn't rocking with any of that shit. I was from the hood of the hood. Niggas wasn't doing no dancing or none of that. Niggas was state property. We was state property and the Locks and Major Figures and I was listening to all that type shit.
You know y'all niggas was listening to No Question.
Right.
No, we wasn't.
That's my shit.
You know who I was still listening to?
Hold up. Tell me what I'm supposed to do now.
What's the name?
Listen, I have the whole album on my computer right now.
My bad, Smooth, because I ain't Smooth. I definitely got that right here.
I was listening to that.
You really want to leave me this way, baby?
In the early 2000s, I was still listening to IMX and.
Yeah, don't do that because I got the whole album.
Chill, I would never forget.
Thanks to IMX.
I will never forget. Hold up. When I used to come on in the lunchroom, everybody in there trying to clap. Niggas, you know niggas ain't got no yams yet. Niggas is in there. Clap your hands. Niggas is in there.
I was getting yam, buddy.
I said, I'm talking about when that shit used to come on. I was in high school then. You already knew, like, oh shit, you clapping too hype, nigga. I know you ain't knock nothing.
I was a big Mario fan when he came out, up until he was an adult. And,
Mario.
And like Mario music, like it didn't hit like I should have, but that boy, like even as a young boy, could sing.
I felt like his music did hit. I just felt like
it did, but it could have been more like it did, like to braid my hair, like all that stuff. But like if you look at his albums, there's a lot of songs that that a lot of people wasn't rocking with, but like there was good songs.
I think.
See, you gotta think about that time and era though. Like, if he come out and he's on Rockefeller, then that shit blows like nothing you never heard of. If he come out and he's on Def Jam in general, because if you with Rough Riders, if you was with Murder Inc. in those days, like if you with the right camp, it was just instantly gonna blow just because it was the camp. Just like when G Unit came out, everything G Unit was putting out was blowing. Niggas can say whatever they want about 50 now, but if you talking about you didn't have that Get Rich or Die Trying playing in them headphones, nigga, you're lying. All right. What's the name too? My bad. Destiny Fulfilled. That last Destiny's Child album. That shit was the shit too back in the school days.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that album too. I think
You let a chick know you listening to what was Kelly John Bad Habit, you know what I'm saying? Or you Cater to You, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think what happened with Mario and the same happened with Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy, that was the other young boy, yeah.
I got a lot of songs. Like they did a lot of songs on mixtapes for people. Like I got them on my phone.
Yeah, they did a lot of good shit.
And I think what people didn't allow them to do is the same thing they did with Bow Wow. They ain't let them grow up. You feel me? Like, you know, Chris Brown, like he was an anomaly.
Chris Brown came in he came in the next wave though.
Yeah, he was
like a grown ass man.
That we let grow. You feel me? They didn't let Mario grow. But when you look, if you go back and you listen to his shit, man, that man
imagine if Sammy
was more than Hardball.
Imagine if they was on Dipset though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like all of these groups was popping at that time, and if they would have stamped one of these young singer boys, then they shit would still be going on. You see, Dipset still did that versus against the Lox, which was terrible.
Do that with
the
Lloyd?
Lox murdered them.
They tried to do that with Lloyd too. Yeah.
But Lloyd got a couple joints though. Yeah.
Yeah, Lloyd did.
No, Lloyd had a couple joints.
Yeah.
That Southside joint.
That Year the Lover joint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He came out once Young Money came out, he had a whole refresh. Like bitch,
exactly. Yeah, he got a refresh with the Young Money. Yeah.
But see again, now once they get the wave, now they stamp Drake, and now Drake and Nicki both go to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all about if Cash Money, if you go late 90s, if Cash Money take one of these young boys and make them their singer.
They
you see Master P tried. You see they tried to do it with Lil Romeo, but that wasn't the same situation because you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They wasn't
so
popping
bad
like
to be
that.
A rapper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But like you said, Bow Wow, Jermaine Dupri was popping at that time with the Brat and with Jagged Edge is probably one of my favorite
listen,
groups.
don't do that because me and Jagged Edge are like related. Like I love this.
All right,
I
hold
still
up
love
now.
Edge,
don't make me push this button, girl.
Sorry was with Jagged Edge in the womb. Like I was.
Don't make me walk you out of heaven, girl.
In the womb.
Nothing is promised to you, girl. Okay, I will do it now.
I'm talking about Wednesday Lover and what's the name? And Hard is my shit. Like don't do that. Trying to find the words. We can go there with Jagged Edge.
You know what I'm saying?
Mario messed up.
Let's get married. You know what I'm saying?
He
Where the party at was my
Ross. Because when MMG was at his height, they tried to get Omarion.
I thought he was with them.
He was, but he ain't. You know what I mean? He fucked that up. Whatever. Him and Ross had some issues. That's why you heard Ross in a couple songs. You know what I mean? Shit on him.
Yeah, but I say he mentioned them in one or two songs.
What about Case and
He was
Joe?
supposed to sign with them, and then
Joe came back with Big Rich Town.
Say that again, Willie. Say that again. Willie, say that again
all
for
the
me.
Things you want to do,
I
Sonny?
remember him mentioning Omarion's name in a couple of songs early on when he was supposed to sign with them, and he was like he was unofficially part of MMG, and then it flipped later on because whatever happened, it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
I got a Jones in my bones for you. That ain't a damn thing that I won't do.
Joe fell off and then came back with Big Rich Town. Everybody was like, 50 don't. But Case didn't
Joe
make
never fell off. Joe was subscribing to the standard release cycle that most R&B artists had back then. Because you got to think, Joe started off like late 90s, and at that time,
Joe had the Anheuser-Busch commercial back in the day, man.
Yeah, release schedules was not every year or every 2 years. It was like every 5 to 10 years is the release schedule.
DMX fucked that up once he came out with the DMX fucked that up with the back-to-back.
Joe might have came out early 90s because I remember him. I remember Joe
Yeah,
I
Joe was
used
in
to
the
love
early
her.
90s.
Was with Ill and Al Scratch. That's when I first heard of Joe. He was on that rap song with Ill and Al Scratch. I think it was I Used to Love Her, some shit like that.
What about Case? Because Case ain't making
Cow!
good
Yeah,
voice.
you're right. He
You took
started
the
off.
fucking name out of my mouth. I was just about to
Joe
say.
started in 92.
92, yeah. 92.
Sonny,
So
I just about to say Case, Sonny.
No, because he had a good run, and then he just was nowhere.
nah, to me, Case was never, you feel me? He was
He was
one of
never
them
what?
ones. He was one of them ones
He
like
good
Touch
for hooks.
me,
That's it.
that had
He good
a
for
that had
hooks.
a that had a hit,
Yeah, he
and
was
that
a
was
one-hit
it.
wonder.
Yeah, it's one of
Happily
them.
Ever After, Touch Me, Tease Me. Come on, don't do that to Case, y'all.
Yeah, one-hit wonder.
One-hit wonder.
Joe was doing an album every 3 to 4 years.
Him and Joe did a song
until
together.
until he did his Ain't Nothing Like Me album.
Would you
and
be
then
talking
after
about
that,
Faded Pictures and a Broken Glass, Sonny?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
a memory.
But see,
Again.
Joe was still levels ahead. He was levels
Yeah, he
above Case.
was.
He was
Yeah.
levels above Case. You feel me?
I remember
I put Avant. Avant had hits over the years.
Oh, Avant.
Yeah,
That's my
Avant, yeah.
boy.
Avant was another one, underrated,
Separated,
but
chill.
had
Again,
a
Avant.
consistent
Mhm.
flow of music coming out, and like you said, good music.
I'm sorry.
Not the plug.
Make Good Love is my shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hate plugging other people podcasts, but when Tank was on Joe Button called Tank, and he was talking, and Tank was explaining about R&B. He was like, it's different from male R&B now. He was like, you got so many rappers harmonizing now that they basically push R&B to the like that natural R&B, so they can't compete. So a lot of these those acts, those natural R&B acts, that's why Tyrese was so mad before. He was like he tried to release a true R&B album because he was like, there's no more true R&B albums being released. These shits is like hip
But
hop.
Chris Brown said that. Chris Brown said the same thing recently on the on what's the name? He said the same thing. He was like it's a mixture of being in between, because that's why he started doing more rapping on his albums, because it was keeping up with the hip hop. So his music is now considered hip hop. It's not even considered R&B.
Right.
So that's, and then he said the same thing. And he was
Are
like,
you talking about the Black Tie album, Tyrese?
it's not the same.
No, it was after that.
It's not the same as R&B as it was as we know it.
Yeah, he dropped the album after Black Tie. Willie, you can look. I know Willie got it on. I forget the name of it. He dropped, and it was a decent album. It was strictly R&B, and it just didn't. You know, people not really listening to that.
You talking about the album that had one on it? It had one and it had Better Than Not. Was it Better Than No was on that album?
He had what was it called? Alter Ego was in 2006. Open Invitation. Black Rose was Black Rose.
Black Rose. That whatever was his latest one.
Beautiful
one.
Pain was his latest. He just dropped Beautiful Pain. But Black Rose was 2015.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, because that's when he had the video when he was on stage and he was singing about
even the cover is him on stage with his arms raised up. Yeah,
exactly.
That was his that was on his Voltron Records, and it was his 6th album. So he's another one that you know that had a nice consistent flow of albums, features, all that. Yeah.
My bad, the baby came down here.
TGT.
I got us on the big screen, so she's been speaking and waving to the screen. Hi, Daddy.
You're right there. She like, I gotta wave at the screen though. Make sure you know I'm here.
That's what's up.
That's why I kept smiling and shit, just because y'all like, what the fuck is Hank doing? She came down here blowing up
me at the big TV. So
she blew up the whole spot. But yeah, Tyrese now, like I said, that what's the name? I Want to Go There album that came out with the urban American classic Baby Boy. You know what I'm saying? That album was that work right there.
No doubt. Well, another great show, guys. Definitely appreciate everybody in the comments, everybody watching. And definitely appreciate if you're watching the replay. Make sure y'all get at us. We're here pretty much all week long for different shows, different content. Mondays at 10 p.m. we have the GFT Radio Show. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube we release the How to Hustle podcast with Heinz. But you can catch the audio on Monday nights or Monday mornings, actually early Monday mornings. So make sure y'all
episode 70.
You always have some great shows popping out. Styles and Chevy recap every Wednesday. We'll be doing episodes 2 and 3 of Miss Marvel. Man, that show is taking a turn.
Child, I watched it today.
Oh, okay, for sure. So make sure y'all get with us on Wednesday. We'll be talking about Miss Marvel episodes 2 and 3. Sex with Sunny Live. We just dropped a great show last week. She had Christine Mayo on, as well as Kiana.
It's Kiana.
Yeah, Kiana.
So they had a menage
joined us
three
for Sex with Sunny Live. It was a great show talking about kissing and telling, or to not tell. So definitely make sure y'all go check out that replay. Fans Perspective just dropped a great show last night, so make sure y'all go check out that replay. That's on every other Sunday at 9 p.m. Gaming with Styles. I just actually dropped the show last week as well, so make sure y'all go check it out. I was playing One Finger Death Punch. Definitely bringing the carnage, so make sure y'all check that out. And our newest show, once a month we're gonna have One Crazy Month with Styles and Dames, so make sure y'all check that show out. We just dropped our first episode a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be on a Sunday opposite the Fans Perspective, so make sure y'all check us out. We should be doing another one in about 2 weeks, so check us out. We got great content, fast show, lots of comments, just basically just having fun, talking about the top headlines across the month. So make sure y'all check us out for One Crazy Month. And Sonny, let them know where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me on the best fun places ever: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok at IamSunny_D. You can also check out my blog, unreservedlyme.com.
All right.
You already know it's your boy Smooth. You can catch me on Twitter all the damn time at eTrentonGroomy. Check out my blog at KingsTruth.com. King's Truth on Snap. Shout out to my brother Daniel. Willie, what up? Today's birthday. Turned 20 years old. Salute.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Lost one of my good friends this week on Thursday, so I will just see my time to say R.I.P. Raheem Hargis.
Oh, sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Salute. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. And it's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Get at me everywhere at Willie Styles on IG and Twitter, Willie.Styles on Snapchat and TikTok. Find me over at gamingwithstyles.com, playing video games. Visit stylesradio.com for all the hot tracks that I'm listening to. Of course, it's just a lot of Chris Brown right now because he just dropped that new album. So make sure y'all go check that out. And WillieStyles.info for all my links. Get at me. That's it for tonight. Make sure y'all get over to our gftradio.creator-spring.com site. Pick up some t-shirts, some sweatshirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. Go check out all our socials. Go check out our website where you can watch replays of all our shows. And make sure you check us out free on demand 24/7 on all your favorite podcasting platforms, as well as here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube for all the replays and highlights. So get at us, and until then,
everybody stay on in the post show real quick. 2 minutes.
All right, for sure. All right, have a good night, people.
Yo, it's your boy Dame here.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D.
Yo, it's your boy Smooth from the GFT Radio Network.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building.
Join us Mondays at 10 p.m. live on Twitch, YouTube, and our Facebook. And if you miss us, don't worry. You can catch it on our website, gftradioshow.com. And if you feel like talking to us every day, join our Facebook group.
At Join the Conversation, the group where you can discuss all kinds of topics.
Catch me also, Fans Perspective, dope sports show. Holla at your boy.
You can cop some merchandise over at our store, teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, masks, and even more.
Next time on GFT Radio, what are we talking about? Join the conversation to find out.
Make sure you get at us on GFTradioshow.com for all of our audio and video playbacks, as well as links